Do you remember? You created a perfect plan, but that nobody used. You created a marvel, but that is lying idle. Welcome to the graveyard of the traditional HRD. I'm here at Dal Lake, Srinagar, for my second lecture on human resource development. But today, we are going to bury the old playbook and build something alive. Today, we are exploring the future through two revolutionary lenses, the complexity and critical HRD. But here is a twist. This is not about learning new models. It's about unlearning the industrial age reflexes that are killing our organizations. You see, thousands of birds moving as one with no CEO board giving commands, no strategic plans, no PowerPoint deck titled Migration 2025. This is complexity science in action. Your organization is more like these starlings than like a machine. It is a living system, non-linear, interdependent, constantly adapting. But we keep trying to run it like a factory from 1952. Here is what complexity science tells us about networks without central control. They self-organize, they learn. Outcomes emerge from the local interactions, feedback loops, and rules that change as they play. This breaks managerial reflex we are being taught. Linear plans are gone, tight controls are useless, prediction impossible. In complex systems, a casual conversation at the coffee machine can trigger more change than the million rupees restructuring program. So, what does this mean for HRD? Everything changes from rule defining to relationship building, from tight restructuring to loose coupling, from deciding to sense making, from controlling to improvising, from forecasting to thinking in futures. We are not managing change anymore. We are readying, building people and systems that can perceive, adapt, and respond to the unexpected. In your terminology, it's jazz, not classical music. Does it mean that learning organizations are dead? No. There is need to revisit the learning organizations. What Peter Singh's beautiful ideas from 1990s. Well, I have a bad news and a good news. Bad news is that the most learning organizations are zombies. They look like alive, but they are actually dead. They have all the buzzword, but none of the life. Good news, the real learning organization principles are more relevant than ever. They are just now what you think they are. So they need to remember the 7 dimensions what matter. Number one, that create continuous learning opportunities, encourage collaboration and team learning, connect the organizations to the environment, promote inquiry and dialogue, empower people toward a shared vision, not just a poster on the wall, capture the shared learning systematically, and provide leadership for learning, leaders who model curiosity. But here is a secret sauce. Leaders in a real learning culture do not have all the answers. They model noticing, they surface tensions, they probe safety, they reshape the ecosystem so teams can act with smart autonomy. Learning must be wired into culture. The way we actually do things here, not delivered like pizza in 30 minutes. So let's learn some real stories which may help us to understand that what I'm trying to communicate to you that what had changed. I'm keeping the name of the organizations in disguise. The first story is about cafe conspiracy. A tech company notices their best ideas are not coming from innovation labs. They are emerging from conversations in the cafe. So what do? Instead of moving meetings to conference rooms, they structured the cafe conversations. They created cafe protocols, inclusive dialogues, where every voice matters. Recursive sense making becomes the norm there in that organization. Support responses got faster. Employee voice got stronger. So this is a small move, but there is a big impact. They did not change where people talked. They changed how people talked. The second story about the hierarchy flip. There is a clinical decision time, critical decision time. The formal hierarchy says that VP decides, but complexity says suspend the hierarchy. This manufacturing company created a hidden hierarchy of expertise, cross-disciplinary teams, cultivated uncertainty to expand options, decided with a richer context. They practiced the discipline of not knowing long enough for better knowing to emerge, a different kind of paradigm. The third story, the pulse revolution. Labs, plants, teams running under shifting constraints, old ways, annual surveys, and the new ways, pulse surveys, focus groups, mini experiments, decentralized adjustments, quick iterations, short review cycles. They turn their organizations into sense making machines, constantly feeling for what's changing and adjusting in the real time. So therefore, there is a need to understand that what is the meaning of critical HRD in present times. That where the people is calm, the critical HRD asks the questions we would rather avoid. Who benefits from your current promotion system? Who is excluded from your leadership pipeline? Whose knowledge counts in your organization? How do you look at people and how do your policies regulate identities and opportunities? Hope you are still with me. Good. Because critical HRD is not about being political, it's about being honest with yourself and honest with the power. And two commitments are required. One, analyze power relationship and their effects. And the second, the act to address inequities with three working dimensions. The first, the purpose, open spaces for questioning dominant practices, teach multiple critical lenses, equip people to act amid contradictions, with the assumption that the knowledge and the procedures are contested and fluid, trace how tools, texts, and policies gain power, expand possibilities in exploring orthodoxy and practice, problematize to be taken for granted, build reflexivity, link personal strategies to broader forces. And this needs a lot of experimentation because there is a trap to avoid that don't moralize. Don't let empowerment become the productivity tool and keep critique alive without becoming performative. With this, after the critical HRD, now I go to the leadership revolution from chess masters to gardener's role. This is how we used to think about leadership. Chess master, three moves ahead, control every piece. This is leadership in complexity. Gardener model of leadership, shape conditions, pin relationship, trust, emergence. Chess master leadership fails to non-linear battlefields and markets. So leader is acting as a gardener who is shaping structure, processes, and cultures that enable adaptive action. maintain rhythm, transparency, and cross-team connectivity, provide shared consciousness so local teams can act decisively. So use guardrails, clarify purpose and priorities, not control, clarity. Invest in connective tissue, that is liasoning, exchanges, communities of practice. Institutionalize daily sense making rituals because they are making more sense. Stop trying to predict and control. Stop trying to perceive and adapt. And the other issue is readying your system, the smart, small philosophy. We have talked enough about the theory. Let's go practical. But I'm not going to overwhelm you with a very long master plan. I'm going to talk about the simple practical tips. The complex systems respond to small, smart moves, not massive restructuring projects that die in committee meetings. Here is the secret. Pick one broken system in your organization, in your vicinity, just one. Maybe it's promotions. Maybe it's performance reviews. Maybe it's how your identity, how your people identify the high potentials. Then apply the smart start trinity. Number one, make the invisible visible. Map what's really happening, not what policy says. What actually happens? Who gets nominated? Who does not? What are the shadow criteria? The unwritten rules. Everyone knows, but nobody talks about. Where are all choke points? The places where good people get stuck. The data will shock you. Good. Shock is the beginning of the change. Number two, run reversible experiments. Don't redesign everything. Test small changes. Portfolio evidence instead of single ratings. Diverse panels with written rationales. Transparent criteria with real examples. Feedback acceleration, responses within days, not months. 5 experiments, 2 weeks each. If something does not work, reverse it. No harm, no bureaucracy, no hard feeling. Build sense making networks. Number three. Create weekly stand ups to review what's working, what is not, what's emerging, cross unit swaps, learning capture. You are not just running experiments, you are building a sense making network that can detect weak signals and adapt to it in real time. Small moves, fast feedback, small adaptation. This is how the complex systems actually change. Then I will come to that the measures which actually matter. How do you know if this is working? Not with the usual suspects, employee satisfaction surveys and retention rates. 5 measures that matter. The learning capacity, the rate of experiments per team, time in first pilot, time to first pilot, connectivity, cross team tiers per person, cross team ties with per person, liaison participation, collaboration density, equity and access, application and advancement in terms of the rates by demography and contact segments, system contribution, experience outcomes. These are not vanity metrics. These are life signs of organizational health. And the other issue I want to cover in today's lecture, that is AI, the artificial intelligence, your tool, not your master. The AI is coming for HRD. The question is not whether It's how you will use it. But the question is that what would be the useful application of AI? Translation for multilingual inclusion. This will be helpful for adaptive practice control, for simulation-based rehearsals, for bias check nudges, but guardrails are non-negotiable. Fairness audits on any model in talent processes. Explainability for high-stakes decisions. Human review for borderline cases. Opt-outs for intrusive monitoring. Shadow criteria tests to catch re-imported biases. So therefore, there is a need to use AI. Don't be used by it. Your judgment enhanced, not replaced. The other aspect is education for the revolution today. How do you prepare the next generation of HRD professionals for this complexity critical future? Design programs around action research cycle embedded in real changes. What if the world building to expand framework before narrowing options? Complexity drills, notice weak signals, reframe problems, test fast and safe. Critical pedagogy in practice, analyze who benefits, design interventions, reflect on power, create creation spaces across institutions, ecosystems where diverse actors solve real problems together and learning emerges as a beautiful byproduct. And there is a need to call to practice. The future of HRD is not a destination, it is a discipline. Readying people and systems to perceive differently, connect widely, and act wisely under uncertainty. Start small, learn fast, shape openly, share openly, shape your future, design with not for those most affected. Lead like a gardener, build shared consciousness, make equity real. Let your smartest and smallest move set big things in motion. The old HRD is dead. Long live the ready HRD, the future of ours. Thank you so much.